I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy.
All right, welcome to episode 11 of Podcast of the Immortals. I'm your host, Matt Bush.
I'm Jimmy Bellamy.
He's also a host, and we have a special guest today. His name is Andy McKinnon. He's a good friend of both of ours, and why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, Andy?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Very excited. I've been watching wrestling since I was 5. Been hanging out with you guys a lot lately. Lost touch with Matt couple of years ago, and
he's kind of a dick, so I don't blame you.
No worries.
And got back together, and
romantically.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Well, that we never lost touch in that part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but excited to talk wrestling. I'm a big fan, and Raw is I think fantastic, and I am a Cena mark.
Yeah,
just for the record.
And that was a real driving force on having Andy on. We've talked about it before. We kind of agree a little too much on a lot of our discussions. Yeah. We needed a Michael Wilbon for Tony Kornheiser on the show, and Andy kind of fills that role. So, Andy, tell us what are some of your favorite wrestlers, some of your favorite moments, favorite WrestleMania?
Sure.
Maybe?
I think John Cena is great. I think what he does in the ring, he brings everyone up to his level. Everyone wants to perform with him. Obviously, his following is great, because no matter what he does, he's going to get so much crowd reaction. Whether it's good or bad, that's what every entertainer's looking for. So, I really enjoy him. Obviously, one of my favorite superstars is Bret Hart. That's from my era. When I love what they're doing. I have some things that I obviously disagree on, but back then it was NWO, like everyone else. Mm-hmm. Bret Hart, the excellence of execution. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Never really liked Hogan. It's one thing I just never got into him.
Oh man, that's what got me into wrestling. I was a big Hogan mark when I was 6.
I liked Kevin Nash way more than I liked Hogan. So
NWO Hogan to me was the best one.
I loved him.
I liked the yellow and red guy and thought he was the greatest. Like most 6 and 7-year-olds did it in the mid to late 80s. But I never saw him wrestle because he would only wrestle on pay-per-views usually. And I didn't get pay-per-views when I was that little. So I never saw him wrestle. And to me, The Ultimate Warrior was more exciting. And when Hogan turned heel, when nobody ever thought he'd be a bad guy, I thought that was when he was the coolest. 1997, I think he peaked in like 98, and then I was downhill from there.
That's about right, yeah. It was Bash at the Beach 96 is when he turned heel. Which is summer, I believe.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. So that's Andy. Nice to have you here.
We're happy to have you aboard,
We're very happy. We'll kick today's episode off with a little bit of news. We don't normally do news, but this is kind of cool stuff. There is a new TV show coming out, WWE related. It's going to be on E! Starting on July 28th, called Total Divas, focusing on a reality show on the divas of WWE.
And it's not going to be on WWE Network? That thing that was supposed to happen a year ago?
Yeah, it was supposed to premiere in April of 2012.
Yeah, it was.
And, it's not here yet.
They don't get any time in the ring, so they might as well get their own TV show. It makes sense.
Yeah, maybe they can finally get some divas over other than AJ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kaylin, she does just fine, and they just need more people. They have, like, nobody there. And could you give Tamina Snuka a more unflattering outfit? Seriously. I don't know if that's her choice to wear that, but it looks terrible.
The big blue
where it has like her side fat, which isn't even really side fat. She's in great shape, but when you wear something that tight and have holes in those spots, it looks like side fat. When I wear sliding shorts, it looks like I have a muffin top. I don't have a muffin top, but when I wear sliding shorts and compression shorts, I have a muffin top.
Well, that's good to know. Glad we went down this road.
You know, it's funny, they are ignoring the fact that I'm wearing nothing but compression shorts right now.
No, we're not ignoring it. We're just not mentioning it.
I'm looking forward to that, actually. I think it'll be good for the Divas. You know, obviously, I think their Divas division is very weak right now. I'm not a fan of Caitlyn.
Don't say that, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Our other guest is going to be a little upset.
Previous guest host Joe Hansen loves Caitlyn, and I can't disagree with him.
Got a little kindergarten crush. I prefer AJ myself.
Yeah.
That should be actually an interesting match. But I'm curious if they're going to be in character or if they're going to actually have like behind the scenes kind of stuff. The Bellas are dating both Daniel Bryan and John Cena at the same time together.
They're both dating both guys.
Yeah, it's big love.
I'm just guessing that show will be they'll be out of character. I'm guessing, and they'll probably have show prep. Their preparation for each show, the travel, whatever they're doing on their downtime, and I think it will be good in the way that it will help them get extra screen time and a chance for audiences to get to know them and want to root for them, like you said. I mean, I think it's gotten a little better. That Battle Royal we saw on Monday lasted a decent amount of time compared to some of the matches that they have. Some of the matches previously would last maybe 2 minutes at the most. And Cole had no interest in it, and he didn't even hide it. Or at least his heel character.
Cole, just gives up on the match. I think that's pretty funny, actually. It looked like you wanted to say something about the Divas as well.
Well, I mean, is the big one, as Jerry King Lawler would say, dating John Cena or Daniel Bryan?
She is. Yeah.
The big one.
The big one. Yeah.
Nikki is the one with the breast implants. I think.
I don't know their.
No. Brie has the breast implant. She's dating Cena, and then Daniel Bryan has natural Nikki.
Jimmy, that's incorrect.
That's wrong.
Nikki Bella is dating Superman, John Cena, whose birthday is today.
She's the one who has the breast implants,
she does have the breast implants.
36th birthday today for John Cena, by the way.
John Cena.
Good. So we only have 20 more years of him.
Yeah.
20 years total. Hustle, loyalty, respect.
22 times in a lifetime. Yeah.
I love that you're a grown man and you love John Cena. That's awesome. And I'll tell you what, when it's all said and done with him, I mean, when he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I'll be like, wow, this dude had some amazing matches. You're going to look back and you're going to say, yeah, he was great. And I'll tell you what, like, Chain Gang Soldier, John Cena was awesome. Doctor of Thugonomics, like, when he made that appearance on Raw for the first time, I want to say in early 2005, like, I went crazy. I remember he had the Spirit of St. Louis.
Yeah, he when he brought the belt over.
Yeah, when he had the spinner belt, and he had the, I think it was the Orange Spirits of St. Louis basketball jersey on. I went crazy because I did not expect him to show up, and it was like, holy crap. But then, I mean, we've talked about it. You've heard it. You've heard me talk on the show about him. I like him. I think he's taking one for the team so he can be that superstar for the kids, which is great. I mean, I bet the best thing he's done, and he would tell you this, is all that Make-A-Wish stuff. I mean, that I think is awesome. And I think he'd rather do that than whatever character tweaks they'd make for him to be a bad guy or be more likable to the Smarks.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, if he turns heel like you guys have been talking about for weeks, he's not turning heel.
Mm-hmm.
He's all that's going to happen. He's going to lose all the kids, but he's going to gain all the Smarks.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing's going to happen.
Just flip.
But like
Matt, just flips.
Matt told me last week he thinks Cena may be a heel. Maybe it's just the greatest work that WWE has ever done. It's possible.
It is, and you know, I'm not sure if that is completely like that, but I know for sure. I know for sure that they're not going to turn him heel unless it's somehow where they can keep the kids. So if he just comes down one day and goes, for all my fans, follow me. I got your guys' back. For everyone else, Go fly a kite.
That's probably the only way they could pull that off.
Yeah.
You're at this point, lines drawn in the sand. You're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of veered off course here, talking about Cena
On this
heel
show,
turns.
no
Yeah.
way.
Weird.
We had some other news, and this is actually a spoiler. So anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled for SmackDown on Friday,
Zoom up if you tell them.
maybe skip a couple minutes here. The Undertaker will be on SmackDown on Friday, and he will be taking on Dean Ambrose in the main event singles match. Dean Ambrose's singles match debut, and apparently Undertaker defeated Dean Ambrose. What do you think of that?
I think it's great that the Shield guys are finally getting one-on-one TV time. And Dean Ambrose, I said to somebody, I think I said to you and another guy on Twitter today, Ambrose, I think, will end up being one of the all-time greats.
Oh, yeah.
He's so fun to watch. He's so in character. He's one of those guys where they make all these WWE films, and I mean, Brodus Clay is going to be in one now. Dean Ambrose could be in a straight-up movie, Hollywood blockbuster movie, and fit right in. The guy is just... He's so steady.
Yeah, he's got that...
He's awesome.
Kind of it factor that... Like, you can't stop watching him. You want to see what he says next. And he kind of reminds me of Heath Ledger's Joker a little bit, where, let me tell you something. That kind of stuff. I love it. I think it's perfect for him. And
I'm happy because a lot of people said going into... I guess not going into, but prior to S.H.I.E.L.D. appearing and prior to NXT even being on the map, that Dean Ambrose was the guy, formerly Jon Moxley, that he was the guy, and I hadn't really seen him. I was more familiar with Seth Rollins / Tyler Black, and I thought, that guy, I can't wait to see that guy in regular action with WWE. But now that Ambrose is there, I mean, I think Roman Reigns is terrific as well. But Dean Ambrose to me is the guy out of these three. I mean, they all might go on. They might go on to be, when it comes to championships, they might be similar to like Orton and Batista from Evolution, moving on and both having incredible singles success. But I think if you have to pick one, Dean Ambrose is the guy.
I think they all have a good chance. Roman Reigns has the look. Seth Rollins has great in-ring ability. But Dean Ambrose, I think, CM Punk even went down and fought him in a dark match.
Yes, he did.
Like, because he respects him so much, and he even said, like, this guy should be on the roster right now, and blah, blah, blah. And you can check it out on YouTube. It's a great match.
It is a great match.
But to have CM Punk...
Give you that endorsement?
Basically vouch for you tells you a lot.
And then your first singles match ever in the WWE is against arguably the greatest performer of all time.
Yeah.
If you hung around for the spoiler, bravo, because of this, I'm going to watch SmackDown. I DVR it, I'll skim it, but I will watch this one because I want to see that. And I couldn't think, could you imagine being, your first match is going to be against The Undertaker, and I bet you he's going to look great in it. I guarantee it's not a squash.
No.
I'm sure it's a great match.
It would be a disservice to the whole company if it was a squash.
I am a little disappointed he had this first singles match. Because I personally, my idea would be that at Money in the Bank, the Shield is in it. And the leader or not leader, whatever you want to go, wins the Money in the Bank and together. That's what I was hoping for. But this is going to be good to build character, and it's out. Hopefully we get to see the other two in action. And
well, I wonder if... Yeah, I think that's a great scenario. I wonder if before that happens, will we see the Shield hold the tag titles?
That'd be great. I hope so. I hope they win the tag titles, and kind of like what me and Matt talked about before Mania, before he left on his trip, which I'm extremely jealous of, just for the record. I was in Jamaica though, so
yeah, not a bad consolation.
What we talked about is we were hoping that AJ would win the title because there was talk about Caitlyn and her fighting, and then Big E and Ziggy win the tag team titles, and then him cash his money back, so they have 4 titles.
That'd be sweet.
4 pieces of gold would be awesome.
Well, they're building Big E now to,
They teased a breakup, or at least they planted the seeds for a breakup on Raw.
Well, we're talking a lot about Raw, and we haven't even gotten into it yet. Okay, so
Matt's getting really nervous right now.
That's our news. Also on the show, we're going to have our top 10 list. Top 10 is back after a couple weeks hiatus here.
Welcome back, Top 10.
Yes, this week we're going to count down the top 10 submissions of all time. I think it's a really good list. I think we all worked on it, so
I like it.
Look forward to that. And we'll get into Raw finally now. Raw kicked off with Paul Heyman talking about the Lesnar Triple H match. It wasn't a match yet, but until Triple H accepted it. And Triple H comes out and basically pedigrees Paul Heyman after fooling him with a fake email, I guess. It was kind of, I don't know.
I wanted him to say Kevin Nash sent that email.
That would have been awesome.
Just the tip of the cap to storyline.
For no reason at all. Yeah, I love the crowd's supposed to believe that Triple H isn't there. The guy who runs the company, who's at every single show ever, isn't there. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, whatever. So he comes out, pedigrees him. We got our match set for Extreme Rules, steel cage match.
Now, what I'm hoping for is when Paul Heyman said last week that he challenges him to an old school steel cage match. I hope that means that they're bringing back the blue cage.
The blue cage, yeah, with where it wobbles.
With the bars.
And, yeah.
I want that back.
That'd be sweet.
Gotta have the blue cage.
That'd be sweet.
That would be good.
Gosh.
I wish they'd have an old school pay-per-view. They do the Raws every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And I love them. I wish they'd bring back the old Titantrons. I can't stand all the lights around it. Mm-hmm. And if you're in the crowd, it cuts off like half of the crowd. You can't even see the Titantron.
Yeah, and in addition to that, when you're watching on TV, some of those bulbs... I mean, because everybody now they have an entrance video, and then they have to have like that graffiti graphic or whatever. And some of the lights don't agree with high definition television. It looks scrambled.
Oh yeah,
quite often. It's gotten a little better over the years, but I mean, and now everybody has a strip around the arena.
Yeah.
They have their own little thing, but I could do without all that. I like the older Titantron as well.
Yeah, bring that back. I'm all for it.
By the way, are we going to be watching Extreme Rules?
We are.
Oh, heck yeah.
Sweet.
And my girlfriend's going to be up.
Awesome.
Because I graduate, I walk the day before.
Oh, good for you,
Thank
dude.
you. Thank
Congratulations.
Yes. By the way, I have some personal news, and it just happened a couple hours ago.
Uh-oh.
No, nothing with
Whoa.
No. I applied for a job with WWE.
You did?
Yeah. It is the media...
I don't know if you want to be giving away secrets. Now people are going to be jumping on this.
Right.
No, they have a whole bunch of... Media research assistant. I looked at the qualifications. I had them, so I go, why not?
Well, good.
May as well try.
Keep us posted on that.
Yeah. I'll let you know when nothing happens.
You never know. They called me. I talked to them 2007.
Really?
Yeah, 2007. I applied for a writing position there and had a couple phone interviews, and things went well, but I respectfully declined to continue after a certain step. But, hopefully something will work out for you.
Cool. Well, that gives me more hope.
That's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
We'll get into that story another time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to fill up the podcast. We can talk about that at a future podcast.
Well, we're already a third of the show down, and we haven't even scratched Raw yet. So after that, we had our first match of the night, and R-Truth wins cleanly over the yodeling Antonio Cesaro. His second loss in a row against mid-card guys, I guess you could say.
If this was 2011 R-Truth, I'd be okay with it when he had that feud with Cena, and he was really building some momentum as a bad guy and had a good gimmick going. Now, I mean, it's just... I think they're not elevating Truth. They're just punishing Cesaro, and I don't like that.
I agree. I actually like what R-Truth does in the ring. I think he's a talented wrestler. His in-ring ability's decent. He's actually pretty old.
He's 40, 41, yeah.
I mean, he's still doing a lot of high-flying stuff, I guess, or minimum high-flying stuff. But I do like R-Truth. They're not pushing him to be this great wrestler. They're just burying Antonio. So obviously he did something that Vince didn't like.
Do you want to get into that more, Matt? You seem to you've either read stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know what accounts they were from, but
PW Insider, I believe, basically said McMahon has no faith in him, doesn't think he's good in the ring, doesn't think he's a good performer, and basically doesn't want to push him anymore. And now you can see the results of that. He wasn't on the build-up to Mania. He wasn't on Mania's card, not even the pre-show. wasn't on the Raw after Mania, loses his belt without a feud after 240 days, he said. Mm-hmm. And now he's getting beat 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring to R-Truth, who hasn't won a match in, a year?
Yeah. But before R-Truth got hurt with his laceration on his knee, wasn't he champion?
Was it with Kofi still?
He was.
We're tag team champions.
He had the tag titles with Kofi, I think. I mean, because Kofi's had the tag titles with Evan Bourne, CM Punk. Yeah. I think they had the tag titles. Did. But I don't think he had the... did he have the U.S. title? I don't know. Or he was at least in a feud for something.
When he was Little Jimmy. When the Little Jimmy shirts were selling off like hotcakes, I mean, they were pushing them pretty hard.
Did you get a Little Jimmy shirt?
I should have.
If anybody should get a Little Jimmy shirt, I should.
I should have bought one for you. That's what I should have bought one for. But no, I did not. So, but when they were pushing Little Jimmy and that all that stuff, he was heel at one point, then turned face.
That was when he was hitting everyone with water bottles and knocking them out. Because that knocks out Cena with a water bottle.
I mean, he had that title match at a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that was his big chance, and it didn't sell very well. And knock him back down.
That's just too bad, because I like when guys like that get a little bit of a run. Well, and there's no reason to bring them back down to the mid-card. But again, there's only so many spots. You can only have so many stars, and if you have everybody winning, nobody stands out.
Not everyone can be the top. Mm-hmm. I mean, at some point, they get their chance. If it doesn't sell good, I mean, they have to knock him down. That's just, unfortunately, that's it.
This Cesaro thing's a mistake. Claudio Castagnoli, the guy, he's, I think, a terrific wrestler. I like his look. I like that it's different, and it's a throwback. Mm-hmm. And this guy can be one of their top guys for years if they just play their cards right. So for him to fall out of favor, I certainly don't know what happened behind the scenes, or if it is something as simple as Vince doesn't like him. I just hope it changes, and that they rethink it before they end up losing him and giving away a terrific talent.
Well, now he's got this stupid yodeling character gimmick.
I like
what are you supposed to do with that? How are you supposed to get over with that?
I liked when he came out. He did the fist shimmy. I thought that was the coolest thing. And now, I mean, you have a move called the Very European Uppercut. That's all you need.
It was unbelievable. I look forward to that. And he hadn't even done that in a long time either.
I mean, and this is a guy who just months ago airplane spun Miz from barricade to barricade.
Oh, yeah. Like a rag doll. It was sweet.
But they kind of did this to Dolph, too. I mean, Dolph's lost a lot. At one point, he was losing matches when he shouldn't.
And he's still losing matches.
And he's still losing matches right now, but
And that's the question. Is it going to be a loser losing? Is it going to be that gimmick where you lose like they've done to Sheamus, they've done to MVP, they've done to Christian, they've done to Jack Swagger, only to have them come back big? I don't know. To me, it doesn't look like that. It looks like he's just an afterthought.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
But this could be a guy Money in the Bank, too.
Maybe.
That finally...
Daniel Bryan effect.
Daniel Bryan, that Dolph Ziggler... that gets their chance out of nowhere.
I hope so.
Or Jack Swagger.
Well,
I mean, he got his chance.
Yeah. Some guys who they aren't burying are the Shield. And then the Shield arrived via helicopter on Raw.
That was awesome.
For their big match with The Undertaker and Team Hell No.
Into a Land Rover.
Well, was it?
It was helicopter to a Land Rover.
Really? I didn't see that part.
Yeah. It's like they were dropped off in the middle of the desert and then run.
So that was pretty cool. Obviously, they have a lot of faith in them to spend that kind of money, even just for that little bit on the show. After that, we had a match, one of two matches that were very similar. Sandow versus Brodus Clay. Sandow won with a roll-up. And then we had what I loved. It was a very, very funny promo, I thought, with Ziggler and AJ and Big E, which we have Raw on right now, and it's coordinating with what I'm talking about. I thought this was really funny, especially with Big E just standing there like creeping on him.
I'm wondering if that's planting the seeds for a split later between Big E and Ziggler.
Oh, I mean, it's the Shawn Michaels and Diesel kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's definitely that. But I think Ziggler needs to be the man for a while before that.
I like Langston as his heavy, as they've referred to him. I like that, and I hope it sticks around. One thing I'll say about Langston, he is hilarious on Twitter.
He's the funniest guy on Twitter.
And I think he will, when he breaks out and is on his own and has opportunities to talk on the mic, people are going to find out quickly just how good he is. And he's an entertainer. JR
really put him over on Twitter the other day, saying, big time athlete. I think he was a football player,
Iowa
power lifter, smart. You know, he goes, watch out for this guy. He's going to be big time. And I love their promo. And then Vicky and Brad Maddox, who I also love. I think he's hilarious.
Yes.
I love Brad Maddox's character right now. He's so freaking funny. But they set up a match where Ziggler versus Jericho. And if Jericho beats Ziggler, he gets to become the fourth man in a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Championship at Extreme Rules. And that's the match that we had next.
Good match. I was a little worried about, and by worried I mean worried in the fact that if you put another loss on Ziggler's record as champion, it was not going to look good for him.
Yeah. But
they had the Fandango music play to distract Jericho, and then right away I knew it was, all right, it's in the bag. Ziggler has this. Mm-hmm. Ziggler wins. I know Jericho, he's on hiatus from the company right now, and the only reason he was on Raw was because his band was in the UK. Yeah. So he made the show and made the appearance, but I think he's going to take some more time off here, maybe come back later this year or early 2014.
I thought it was really cool to have him on the show. I thought it was a good kind of angle to have on the show, and I loved. It furthered both the Fandango feud and the Ziggler feud with him because he's had feuds with both of them. And, I mean, he had him dead to rights. Jericho had him in the walls, and Fandango music hits. The crowd goes nuts. Good crowd again, by the way. They kind of redeemed for last year in South Carolina or whatever, wherever the hell they were.
Last week.
Yeah, it was awful last week.
The Euros, you can always count on that. I mean, because if you think about it, one of my friends from the UK said he couldn't get tickets because things sell out so quickly there. If you think about it, this in essence is their WrestleMania or their pay-per-view. That it's not often that they get TV, and here you go. So it's going to sell quickly. And I knew that they'd bring that spirit back. Yeah. Still didn't touch 2 weeks ago.
No, and I think I tweeted out that they're heavily influenced by the crowd 2 weeks ago. It almost seemed like they were trying to be the same crowd, like doing the same chants. Mm-hmm. It kind of seemed like a parody rather than their own crowd. They weren't doing any spontaneity stuff.
And I wonder, since the event wasn't live here because of the time difference, I wonder if they changed the sound in any way for the television audience. Or I'm not saying they piped in sound, but I just wonder what kind of changes they made, if any.
What I read on Reddit, some people were upset. They thought they were a lot louder than it came across on TV. So they thought maybe they were toned down a little bit, if anything.
That was what I was thinking.
Yeah. What do you think of the crowd, Andy?
I thought the crowd was great. That match that we were talking about,
I thought that was a fantastic match. You know, besides for the match we're going to talk about in a few minutes, that match was probably the second best match on the whole night. So I really enjoy their in-ring work. You know, they obviously Jericho, one of the best in the company. Can put people over, disappears for a couple months, comes back. He'll put over this guy who is Fandango.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he takes off.
I'm excited, as Matt, you touched on. Jericho will come back, and theoretically, Ziggler will be even bigger next year at this time. And so they could reignite that. I think it's great.
That would be an awesome Mania match.
And who knows, we'll probably have a babyface Ziggler by then, and Jericho can come back as a heel.
I would love to see a babyface Ziggler. I think that's the way to go. But I
think you're going to get it.
I hope so.
It's only a matter of time.
Yep. Big E.
We can trade it for a heel Miz.
Now, in the promo, they also teased getting the Divas title onto AJ, because then they can be this golden couple with all the belts and straps, and that actually played off later in the night. After the Ziggler match, we had another Tons of Funk versus Road Scholars match with Tensai versus Road, and this one Tensai wins, so obviously this feud is going further. Not going to talk about that match any more than we have to. We cut to a backstage promo for Team Hell No, and the Shield jumps them, setting up for what's next. And Big E Langston had another match on TV with new theme music. I didn't like it. It was a standard rap something or other. I don't know.
I liked it better coming out to Ziggler's music. I wish they would have given him something similar even.
Yeah. And then we had our squash match with Ryder, which you were texting me during, Andy.
I was, yeah. I just think what they're doing to Ryder is, not the greatest. I mean, he has 1.1 million Twitter followers. They snubbed him a month ago, 2 months ago. And they always go to snub him, and probably because of what you said, he constantly bashes them on Twitter. They don't like the fact that he built himself up, and without their help. I've watched the Z True Long Island story. I watched it for a while.
Same here.
Yeah, it was decent. I thought it was hilarious.
It was cool until he signed it over to WWE.
Exactly, and I agree. And I would like to see him get another push because he sells merchandise. He's over really great. I think he'd be a great tag team with someone. He can have a tag team push, and their tag team division's terrible. So it'd be nice to see him get with someone. But hey, you know what? You have to push Big E. He's a monster.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see Big E win some squash matches. Then we see him get into some real matches.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't go the Brodus Clay kind of route where he looks like a monster, beating everybody, and then all of a sudden they don't know what to do with him.
You mean Ryback?
Or many other examples.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mason Ryan?
Tensai, whatever you want.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
He's my boy, too.
Yeah. So, after the match, Taker comes out alone. No Team Hell No. So we think, uh-oh, what now? And, of course, the Shield comes in and surrounds the ring. And a brawl ensues. And that's when Team Hell No comes bolting out from the back. And, yeah.
Roman Reigns has such beautiful blue eyes.
And long, luscious hair.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose has my kind of hair. Falling out. So we're actually going to have the match. I thought at first, oh man, it's going to be smooth, yeah, and then we're going to get it on Extreme Rules or something. But they actually had the match, and freaking loved it. I mean, especially, I thought the star of the match was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, and I know the Twitter chatter during that match, people couldn't believe that when years ago, when Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose fought in a match, the same number of people attended the match as the number of people surrounding the ring last night in the match. So it's pretty surreal for the people who have followed them for a long time. I will not claim to be one of them. I didn't know Daniel Bryan until 3 years ago. At NXT was the first time I saw him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I studied up on him, and knew right away, oh, he's Bryan Danielson, and here's his deal. So it had to be surreal for these guys and longtime fans of these guys. But the overall from people and I saw most of the match. The snowstorm took out my TV for a little bit, but I saw that I'd say the last maybe 60% of it, so a little more than half of the match. And Daniel Bryan did look good, and of course he was the one who got pinned. But you're not gonna have Taker lay down or Kane in that case, even though Kane probably wouldn't have minded being the guy to take that pin.
To do the honors, as they say.
There you go.
But I really enjoyed that match. I thought it was fantastic. It furthers another storyline, which will be great, I think, at the Extreme Rules. I think it's... If they have it, which I think they will. But what I loved about their whole thing was starting the beginning of the match, because we talked, me and Matt, and we're like, is this match really going to happen? And I thought Undertaker would get jumped, but yet they did it the other way, and then he's standing out there by himself. So I thought the WWE did a great job there. I thought the match was great, and definitely the highlight of the night. And speaking about the crowd earlier, you still got it. Love that chant to the Undertaker. Gives him mad props. So
yeah, it was sweet.
And Undertaker's first Raw match in 3 years. I'm giddy the fact that he fought on Raw and SmackDown this week. I'd love to see him more often, and hopefully, if this part-time stuff with The Rock and with Brock Lesnar and even Jericho has done anything, it's maybe encouraged The Undertaker to participate a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy can do what he wants at this point. He can walk away, no problem, but as a fan, selfishly, I love seeing him on these TV shows.
I never thought we were going to see, other than a Mania, kind of thing and promos beforehand, I never thought we were going to get another run out of The Undertaker, to say.
What I would love to know is if The Undertaker, because he has been known to do things like this, where the way he elevated Cena early in his career, the way he elevated CM Punk,
Lesnar.
I wonder, Lesnar, I wonder if Undertaker stepped in and said, look, these guys are special, I want to be a part of this. And to me, if he's done that, God, I'm getting douche chills right now thinking about it.
Well, I'd love to see a Dean Ambrose or a Roman Reigns or any of them go one-on-one, and if they can defeat The Undertaker at a pay-per-view or SummerSlam.
I think we're looking at that right now, because a Taker, to me, he again, this is just speculation, he's probably saying, look, we keep the streak. As far as I'm concerned, you could do whatever else. I mean, he I don't think is above doing that, and guys should be like that on their way out, especially. Tip the cap and let these guys have a nice notch in their belts.
Well, Taker's always done what's best for business.
Yep.
He's always
why he lasted so
been the guy.
long.
And everyone talks about him with such reverence in the back. Like he's the guy. If he says something, your ears open up like fucking Dumbo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for him to come back and face the Shield and put over the Shield, is amazing, I think.
What are your favorite Undertaker eras? What's your favorite kind of Undertaker guy?
I love the original Dead Man with the purple gloves and the urn and then the giant urn. That was what I grew up with, and I was actually scared of him, so that's the one I remember the most and probably most fondly.
I love that one, but it's second to Ministry of Darkness in my book. You have a favorite?
Well, whenever he was with Paul Bearer, I enjoyed him. So, at one point, obviously, he was a bad guy. But I like face Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's great. Brothers of Destruction, that was cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the Ministry because it creeped me out.
That's why I love it so much. Because as an almost adult, 16, 17 years old, 17, almost 18, I mean, I was scared, like a little scared. That sounds so funny to say, but I thought, wow, if they can do this to me right now, they are doing everything right.
See, and that's how it felt. I mean, we're 3-4 years younger than you. I think that's where that comes in. We were 13, 14.
Yeah.
Which makes a big difference from 17.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even and I have this going on. When I ran the newsroom, everyone was like 22, 21, and I was 27, and they would talk about like Pokemon, and I'm like, I was too old when that came out. They're like, what? Yeah. What? I'm like, yeah, I know a Pikachu. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
But I was just like a year or two too old to understand.
I missed Pogs. And you guys are probably like, what? Yeah, I missed Pogs.
I remember Pogs, and I never really liked them that much, but
I did hang around for Power Rangers because my little brother was into them.
Heck yeah.
So I'm very familiar with Power Rangers. And I may or may not have purchased a Megazord for $40 at Kmart one year.
Nice.
Red Power Ranger.
Sorry, AJ just came
Red
on
Ranger.
TV, so
I was all about green/white.
Too.
Yes, when he walked out with the vest on, I'm like, where the heck's his belt? And then, sure enough, he has it on backwards.
We're talking about Ziggler coming out.
I was about to say that too.
Yeah. I get quiet when AJ Lee comes on the...
I love her legs, too. She's looking good.
I love everything about AJ Lee.
Dolph, the show-off.
We're getting real creepy right now.
Yes.
Okay. So, next... So... Daniel Bryan misses a flying headbutt. Ambrose pins him. Shield gets a win. Next up, we had Fandango in a match against William Regal, the hometown favorite. Fandango won fairly quickly after some very, very bad dancing by William Regal. And afterwards, Y2J attacked Fandango and took his little lady dancer, who is an NXT wrestler, I found out. Summer...
I was going to say, she looked like a poor man's Kelly, and I don't even really mean the poor man. She looked phenomenal.
Yeah. Summer, I think it's like Summer Bray. I can't remember her last name. But yeah, she is...
I'll be keeping an eye out for her then.
She's on point. Well, we do.
Could we be more creepy?
Yes.
Me and you, just I'll keep an eye out for her.
Puppies. And the crowd fandangoed, which was awesome because we didn't really see that last week. And then we had the Divas Battle Royal, which AJ won after playing possum after he got smoked in the head by Tamina Snuka, who did you know is the daughter of WWE Hall of Famer.
I saw that on one of those wrestling internet sites.
Like, did you know kind of thing.
She is the daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Are you guys sure that she's the daughter? I thought she was the son.
No, it was on Wikipedia. I saw it.
Wow.
It's got to be true.
She is large. Very strong.
But like I said, I mean, she doesn't need to look like, it's not like she was Jazz. I mean,
yeah.
But the outfit, I don't know if it's her choice. That outfit's awful.
Maybe she's just really...
It looks like...
Maybe she's got the side fat and we don't...
No, it looks like they folded that in like 8 pieces and then took a scissors and made cuts. Like when you made a snowflake in elementary school. Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So AJ wins the match.
AJ wins the match.
And I think it was great. It's a great move. That's what I would have done. So now it leads to the question of when is she going to get her match? And I think she's going to win it. She's going to win the title. Mm-hmm. She's going to get it before Extreme Rules so they can show the gold off together?
No, I think it'll be at Extreme Rules.
I think so, because that way you have a women's match on the card that people actually care about.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see us right now. I'm going to have 2 hot dogs and a thing of Doritos on my lap in your living room, and I'm going to be excited for that match. I mean, when was the last time there was a women's match you were excited for?
Well, I got this match.
Lita, not since Lita in the company have I cared about a women's match.
Well, there was that one at 27 with Snooki, which was great.
Like I said, not since Lita have I been excited for a women's match.
Well, I really thought this match was going to be at Mania. I mean, it made sense. AJ's the most over diva in a long time. Caitlyn was a champion. Why? I don't know why they didn't.
I think you're dealing with a packed card. And I think they really wanted to get the Funkadactyls involved, and they still didn't. Mm-hmm. They had to cut that match.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So after that, it led to our main event. I guess you could call it a main event. Where Mick Foley, WWE Hall of Fame class of 2003, comes out and exchange words with the newly turned heel Ryback.
Andy, I love Mick Foley, except... he managed to do something worse than his hair, and it was that promo. And I don't want to say it was his fault. I mean, you knew he was a dead man walking, but what did you think when you saw that?
I wasn't overly impressed. I always try to think when he comes back and does this, why are they doing this? Why would he travel to London or England, wherever they were?
I think he was doing. Did they say he was doing a stand-up tour or a book tour?
More than likely,
he had a reason for. They mentioned
his DVD came out.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. They mentioned something. He was doing some kind of tour,
and that makes sense. I mean, you're right. His DVD came out. They want to push that. That's totally understandable. They've done this with CM Punk when John Cena versus CM Punk. So obviously there's history with him and Cena, how they're friends or portrayed, and I wasn't impressed by it. I wasn't impressed by Ryback either. I would have liked to see Ryback clock him, and but that's okay. I mean, they decided to go that route. They did. They still furthered the storyline, which I always talk about. They still furthered the storyline with John Cena coming out, save Mick Foley. Still looks like a good guy to the kids. All the smarts still hate him.
Now, I'm going to actually differ from you guys on this.
All right.
I really liked the Ryback promo. I thought it was good, compared to what we've seen of Ryback before.
It wasn't terrible. I mean,
no, and I love, he's calling Foley a fat ass, lazy fat ass, and he's telling him to shut up. That might be a new catchphrase for him. Shut up, I don't know. I just dug it. I'm like, yeah, all right. He's just tired of it. He's the most dominant guy on the roster physically. He's been screwed over by Brad Maddox, by the Shield. He's been put through tables and chairs and
ladders,
lions and bears. Oh my! He's just had enough, and he's not going to let anyone tell him otherwise. And I thought it was good. I don't know. He had an energy. He doesn't have to say much. which is good. But I don't know. I liked it.
To me, it would have made more sense if he would have physically accosted Foley, but maybe, who knows, maybe Foley had like a no contact rule maybe he's like, look, I'm here for other reasons. I don't want to have, a bloody nose and a black eye.
Oh yeah, then that's fine. But what I didn't understand was the ending when Cena comes down, fights off the Shield, who were attacking Ryback, and then after he saves him, he hits him with the AA. Like what?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was too.
But why? No, what's the why is it?
Because Ryback had been talking for the past 2 weeks about how Cena never had his back. Cena never helped him out against the Shield. So this was Cena's way of saying, look, you can't say that anymore. I helped you. And then he beat him to it. I think what the announcers were trying to sell at the end was that both guys were eyeing up the chair, and as soon as Ryback looked at the chair, Cena took that moment to pounce. Maybe, pounce first before you beat Ryback to the punch. I did not expect, I'm sure there were plenty of people who did see what happened happen, but I didn't expect it to play out that way. I honestly expected Cena to walk away. Mm-hmm. So for him to come in and make the save, I thought, all right, but I kind of would have liked to see the two of them beat up the Shield, or both get beat up. In the numbers game, both of them get beat up. I don't know, but
I thought the chair shots were awesome.
Yes.
He was just going to town on those.
I'll have to replay it, but one of them looked like he got, I think it might have been Ambrose, in the head.
He looked like a headshot. That's
and
what I thought
like it was inadvertent. I don't know if I have it though, because I had to turn it to standard def, and eventually I think it failed. But we'll see. But it looked like it was supposed to be an empty swing, but Ambrose, because he moves all around, I think Cena caught him when he wasn't supposed to, and I think he got him in the head.
I wonder if we'll be fine for that.
He'll just be slapped on the head.
So, that was Raw. It was an interesting Raw. I actually thought it was a pretty decent episode. We had an Undertaker match. We had some good storyline progress. So
absolutely. Yeah. I liked it. Overall, I enjoyed Raw.
Yeah, I give it a solid.
What about you, Jimmy?
My DVR shat itself midway through, so I didn't get that. But no, I thought it was okay. It was an improvement over last week.
Mm-hmm.
The UK crowd certainly helped. They have my attention.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty excited for Extreme Rules. Actually.
I want to see Ziggler continue to gain momentum and victories. I want to see Fandango's character continue to get over with audiences, and I want it to be I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like 2 weeks ago when you were at that show, the crowd was grabbing onto that almost because, like you said, Cena gets reaction both ways, but I think a lot of the booing is they're booing because WWE is ignoring the fact that people are telling them, look, this Cena thing's not working,
mm-hmm.
So in this way, I think they're like, well, okay, well, we're going to cheer this guy. This guy that's supposed to be a joke, we're going to cheer him. And I hope it doesn't graduate to the Santino level. Like, I hope Fandango's not a joke wrestler. I want to see him succeed, and I hope it continues. But every week, I think I told you a few weeks back, if we weren't doing this podcast, there was probably a time I was going to stop watching out of protest, but I can't quit you, WWE.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
So they have my attention. Andy, you've preached. Advance the storyline. They did that. I'll be tuning in next week, of course, and I'm looking forward to seeing something, especially with Punk absent. I want to see some characters get built, and I'd love to see things fall into place. Get a babyface Ziggler, or get Langston more one-on-one time. Get the Shield more one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And
I think we have 3 or 4 more Raws before Extreme Rules.
We do. So. I think it's May 29th. Is that correct?
May 19th.
May 19th? Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
I definitely think they still need that grab factor. So CM Punk was it. CM Punk and John Cena obviously were the 2 big things. Keeping them separate in 2 different storylines, I thought was a great idea. The reason why Undertaker has to be on the pay-per-view is because CM Punk's out.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with Brock Lesnar. That's why they're doing Brock Triple H 3. Because, it's going to be a good physical match. Last year, I don't know if you remember, Matt, what did we say to each other?
that was one of our favorite pay-per-views.
And
It was probably the best of the year.
people said that the Lesnar Cena match was both gruesome and technically phenomenal. They were saying this at the time, like, match of the year candidate, no doubt. A lot of people were saying no doubt match of the year, period.
Yeah.
And I would say, because I'm over the whole Taker streak thing, I think that was a sentimental pick that got match of the year. I would have given it to Lesnar Cena.
I would have too. Yeah, I don't know how they do the years though. I don't know if it's from WrestleMania.
Do they count Mania as the year end?
I don't know.
I thought it was calendar year. I thought it was calendar. It might be 2012 match of the year.
Yeah.
But either way, Extreme Rules is one of my favorite. Next to Money in the Bank, it's one of my favorite non-major pay-per-views.
Yeah. Yep.
Because to me, it brings me back to not totally, but to the hardcore era of the Attitude Eras. Yeah. The hardcore days of the Attitude Era. So I love it, and I'll watch Brock Triple H 3 with more excitement than WrestleMania's match.
Oh, I agree, because I mean, there was no doubt in what was going to happen at Mania. Mm-hmm. At least there's a little bit of doubt here, and I'm liking the card so far, especially if Undertaker's on it.
Yeah. You know what? I look at that triple threat match that everybody said that scenario should have played out at WrestleMania. I love that they waited for the night after Raw, and I love that they're having this match with those three.
With Ziggler and Swagger and Del Rio.
And it doesn't necessarily have something to do with the guys in the match. It has everything to do with Ziggler, but that there's a third guy in there, so it throws that scenario in like, oh gosh, so any one of these guys could win with Ziggler not being a part of the decision. I like that. A lot of people say that triple threat matches are cop-outs, especially for WrestleMania main events, but I like them just because it adds that extra element of, okay, so will guys team up? Mm-hmm. At what point, at some point each guy will team up with the other. So I would like to see, will Swagger and Del Rio team up against Ziggler at some point, and that'll be cool to see if they do.
Yeah, I'm excited. All the matches are, I kind of like.
I'm pumped. I've got my $15 ready.
Yeah.
You better have hot dogs again.
I think we have to go with hot dogs or famous nachos. We didn't get to make them for WrestleMania.
Dude, I'm jacked up for. I was gonna say, for those who don't know, well, I'm sure most of you don't know. Andy has. You get all pay-per-views or most?
We get them all. Yeah,
except when you're in Jamaica.
Except when I was in Jamaica.
So I was in New York.
So I met Mandy. I met Andy about 8, 9, or 10 years ago through some mutual friends. And he came over to my house and watched some pay-per-views back then. And then I guess we never really got in touch, but we didn't talk for those years after. I meet Matt, and he says, oh, my friend has these pay-per-views. You're welcome to come over. So I find out dude lives a block away from me, and I walk in the house, I'm like, you're Andy McKinnon. And I had no idea that that's who Matt was talking about. So now we're reunited.
And it feels so good.
Yes, and we were in this cult of wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped for this because we didn't have Mania together, and we have so much more time that it's more than a month. Usually it's a month between pay-per-views. It's more than a month, so the anticipation is killing me, but I love it. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I remember it was about 2 years ago.
Yep.
WrestleMania 27. And I hadn't watched a pay-per-view in forever, and I just kind of started getting back into it. And I remember I put on Facebook, I'm like, anyone watching WrestleMania this week or tonight? Or and I get a text or a call from Andy, hey, dude, we're getting it if you want to come over. I'm like, and that started, and then I kept bugging him. I'm like, dude, we going to get SummerSlam?
Yeah, it was like we only got 4 of them. 4 or 5 we always tried to get.
Yeah.
And then once Matt said that he would be in every time, I talked to my buddy Josh Maida, who you also know.
Yeah.
You played soccer at Scholastica, and he played baseball, right?
My little brother played soccer at Scholastica, but I know Josh because his brother Joey, who also played soccer at Scholastica, is a friend of mine and my brother's.
Small Duluth town for the people.
Yeah, really, really incestuous.
So we started getting Matt basically bugged me all the time and said, we need to get the pay-per-views. And I was like, well, do you think we should get them every time? And he's like, well, it'd be just me and you probably. And I was like, well, let's check. So Josh wanted to do it. My wife watches it. Your girlfriend watched it, Nicole.
Your brother.
My brother, my little brother, Zach. So, now it's just, we get it no matter what now. So
and you can count me in the mix. That reduces everybody's
So
total.
it's like 10 to $15. We all get food as a big party once a month. It's just a lot of fun.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I loved it so much I wanted to do it every week. So
and now they're talking. WWE's one of their spokespeople mentioned that once the network is up and running, they are only going to have the major events on pay-per-view, and then the other monthlies will be on WWE Network. So that gives fans more incentive to pay that extra money for that channel, which I envision I'll be doing.
Well, it's like $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
For the pay-per-views alone, you're saving hundreds of dollars.
But then that might take away from our bonding time.
Well, no, we can still get together.
Get together. What are you talking about? Yeah, right in this little room here. But we're a little behind. We really need to get into our top 10, so we'll go top 10. Boom. Submissions of all time. We'll kick off the list at number 10, and Jimmy, I think you're going to want to talk about.
Now, this criteria, these are WWE, but a lot of guys have used some of these moves, and to us, this is, I love this list. I love the way we came up with it, and we had, I think we had to shave off, 15 other really good submissions.
It was tough because a lot of them probably deserve to be on the top 10, but we kind of are biased on a few of them. But that's
we try not to let that get too. We try not to let that influence it too much. But number 10 is the Texas Cloverleaf, made famous by Dean Malenko. And of course, Sheamus does it kind of half-assed, but it's a Dean Malenko move in my book. The man of 1,000 holds.
This is number 27 of them, I believe.
Yeah, and Dean Malenko, a very underrated performer in WWE. His time was brief. He's an agent with WWE, but of course he made his money with WCW. He probably made a decent amount of money in WWE though too. The Texas Cloverleaf, I like it. I like it because it's a technical move. A guy like Malenko's going to have it. It's very involved. And it hurts like hell, like a lot of these moves do. And that was the thing. A lot of these moves hurt like hell.
A lot of these moves made the list because Jimmy had been put into them by his brothers, younger ages, and he would vouch for which ones hurt the most, and so that kind of helped us picking the top 10. Our number 9 was made famous by the Iron Sheik, and it's the camel clutch. And for those who don't know, he would sit on their back, wrench their arms back behind his knees, and then pull back on their face. And I remember getting put into this by my old neighbor, and it does suck. I did not like it at all. He put away many, many, many foes using this move. I don't even know if he had like a pin finisher. I think he only had the submission. Well, I could be wrong.
The worst part about this move is it was difficult to tap out because your arms were involved.
You're like,
if you're occupied. But I also, and I would have to, I remember Sergeant Slaughter doing the move and calling it the Cobra Clutch. But either way, it hurts like a mother. And it's one you don't see often anymore. But to me,
definitely old school.
When you think of wrestling and you think of submissions, you have to have the camel clutch.
Yeah, absolutely. Our number 8 is made famous by quite a few people, actually. And that is
the ankle lock.
Yes.
So, ankle lock, Kurt Angle, obviously. In my opinion, the one that makes me think of it. Also, Ken Shamrock and Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger currently uses the ankle lock. Kurt Angle made a living out of it. Still performs it on TNA, if anyone watches that. Not very many people do, but I think it's a great move, and really one of the obviously best ones out there.
It's really cool because it looks painful too, especially the way Kurt Angle used to do it.
Yeah,
he'd be Swagger just kind of holds it there. I wish he'd get into it a little more, but it's cool because you can do so many things from that position. You can kick it. You can reverse it. You can get out of it. You can just
can roll into a pin.
Oh yeah. You can do many things from it.
This move I first saw from Ken Shamrock, and it was like, oh my God, Shamrock snapped, and that's my JR. And he would have that ankle, and he would have his eyes bugging out.
Oh yeah.
And his last match in WWE was a hardcore match against Jericho on SmackDown, where Jericho, I think they were in Buffalo, and Jericho wore full hockey equipment. And he did a splash from the top rope and injured Shamrock, and he was never seen again.
Oh my gosh.
And then, I'd say months after that, Kurt Angle began doing the ankle lock. And I thought for sure, I was like, oh my god, Ken Shamrock's going to come back and demand that he give his move back to him. But that never happened. And Angle just ran with the move, and it works out well. He has that same intensity. Swagger does a half-hearted job at it, but
it's almost like he's high or something. Like
Swagger just looks really messy with everything he does, and it's not cute. Number 6,
number 7.
Oh, number 7. I'm sorry. I thought we had number 6. Number 7 is one of my favorite moves. It's a move that I'm going to try to give to Andy, which if you know what Andy and I look like, you would laugh. It's the torture rack. Lex Luger made that one famous, and I can vouch for this one. This one hurts. I don't like it. It's especially bad if you have to pee when you're in it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now there's a story. We need to hear this, right?
Well, if you got a full bladder and somebody's bouncing you around like that, it's not fun.
And how do you know this?
Because I've had to pee a lot in my life, and one time I had to pee. Well, nothing happened. Nothing came out. Although I wouldn't mind if it did, because it would have gone on the person giving.
That'd be a unique way to get out of that.
My God, he's peeing.
My God, it's everywhere.
That's like that's the new thumb to the eye.
Yeah.
he's urinating on his phone.
Ref's gotta stop this.
So that brings us to number 6 with the STF from John Cena and Lou Thez. Obviously, I more know it as the STF from John Cena.
The STFU.
The STFU, that's correct, yep. But, move's great. He's won a lot of matches with it. At some points, it looks kind of weak when he does it, but when he's into it, it's a pretty good move. So, it's obviously... The big thing is it's won a lot of matches. A lot of big top names have tapped out to that.
Triple H, Shawn Michaels,
Big Show
at WrestleMania. And back-to-back years, he beat both of those guys with that move, I believe. And for the validity of the move, I actually read that a kid, like brothers, did the move, and one of the brothers actually killed the other brother doing that.
When was this?
Like within the last year or so.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And STF stands for step over to hold, foot lock, or face lock, and you can see every little step of those. And that really brought the mood down, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
that's awful.
It's true, yeah.
It's awful.
Well, you need STFU.
Huh? I need to STFU. No, that's why, I mean, when you see them do it, it's so loose. And they do that for a reason. That's why. Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay, dude.
Yeah,
I remember in the late 90s, some kid, I think he was like 14 years old. He was a big kid. Was babysitting like an 8-year-old girl or a 6-year-old girl, and he was a big wrestling fan, and he like power bombed her and killed her.
Wow.
And that went to trial. I can't remember the dude's name, but that was a big deal. And I think the family wanted to sue WWF or get involved in that, but of course they were not found liable. Then they had the "don't try this at home" thing that they've done for years.
Number 5 submission is actually one that John Cena ends up doing sometimes when he's not in position, and that's the label lock. It's very similar to the STF. It was made famous by the Chris Benoit when he was called the Crippler Crossface, and it's now famous as the No Lock or the Yes Lock by Daniel Bryan. It's won titles, like many titles actually. Daniel Bryan's won the World Heavyweight Championship with it, I believe.
No, didn't he just pin a downed Big Show?
Pin him?
Yeah, because Big Show got beat up by Mark Henry, and then Bryan just pinned him. No, he just pinned him.
Okay. I'm wrong on that, but I know
he's retained titles with it. You could say that he's retained titles.
Yeah. Didn't Benoit win at WrestleMania 20 with it?
Yeah, I think so. In that triple threat match with Michaels and Triple H, I think he did. I think Triple H tapped, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember.
I think he did.
But yeah, I believe he won at WrestleMania 20. Really cool. I mean, it looks painful. I mean, obviously, I've never been put into it.
It hurts. And
our resident submission expert.
This one, because Benoit, I mean, I wasn't a big WCW guy. I did watch WCW, but my brothers and I didn't watch that, so we weren't doing that as little kids or anything. But 2000, when Benoit was in WWF for the first time, you know, like, we would try it, like, my friends and I, like, just to see what it's like or whatever, but no one would be doing it seriously to the other person. But yeah, that thing hurts.
Yeah.
I like that move because it's taking advantage of your opponent by taking care of all of their upper portion of their body. So you can't, as the downed opponent, you can't even do anything with your legs to get out of it. That even though your legs aren't being touched, you're still screwed. You're on your chest, and pretty much all of your upper movement is being taken away. Good move.
Yeah, that's good. Our number 4 is a classic. It's the $1 Million Dream. It was made famous by, obviously, Ted DiBiase, and then used later during Steve Austin's run as the ringmaster. Andy, what do you think about the $1 Million Dream?
I mean, it's a great move back then. You know, you don't see a ton of it, especially as a finisher now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see it occasionally in the middle of matches, but not nothing in this modern day. But obviously, a great move that was used to really bring on the new moves, and one of the beginning moves that make other moves, you know, become better, more advanced, stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the move, but it's, you know, it was one that I used to put on Jimmy, so it's a good one.
You wish.
Did this one hurt, Jimmy?
They all hurt, and that's why I liked putting this list together. I mean, the ankle lock really is the only one that you can ease off of quite a bit, and that really depends. That one is dependent on the opponent selling it, but all the other ones, I mean, like many submission moves, I mean, aside from like a sleeper, it's hard to have one that doesn't hurt, especially some of those leg locks that involve the opponent or the person giving the move being on top of the opponent.
Yeah. Our number 3 submission of all time. Woo! I can't even do it because my throat's still sore. The figure 4 leg lock, made famous obviously by Ric Flair, originally used by Buddy Rogers, who was wasn't he the original Nature Boy?
Yeah, I think
pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Recently used by The Miz, and of course Shawn Michaels used it as well. I mean, for iconic moves, you can't go. I mean, you got to start there almost. You know?
Yeah, and I like this move because of how long Ric Flair's had it in his arsenal. Mm-hmm. And if you think figure 4, you think Ric Flair. Hopefully someday there's not a kid who says, "Oh, I think of The Miz."
Yeah,
I think of the figure 4.
I'm sure there already is, actually.
Probably.
Yeah.
How many championships has that move won?
All of them.
All of them.
I
can't remember a lot of times that Ric Flair won without that figure 4.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, granted, I'm certainly not, you know, a library when it comes to Ric Flair's matches throughout his time with NWA, WCW, and everything. But I can't really picture him winning by a pinfall in a significant match. It was usually the figure 4.
Yeah. Some of these moves, like the STF, you know, Cena has that in his arsenal, but his main finisher is the AA to get the pin. Flair didn't have an AA. He didn't have a code breaker. He didn't have a secondary move that he could pin a guy. This was how he beat people, and he beat everybody.
That's why it's so high up on the list. Yeah. I mean, arguably this could be even better. I mean, you're going to hear the other two here, and you're going to go, okay, makes sense. But this move is, you know, Ric Flair, obviously dirtiest player in the game. I mean, fantastic. Obviously knows how to set it up. Hopefully can teach The Miz how to set it up a little better.
I wonder if that's part of the story where he's like learning and he just sucks at it right now, you know, and he'll get better.
He's already gotten better.
He has.
Yeah. So that leads us to our number 2 move of all time, and this one is tough not to put at number 1, but it's a sharpshooter made famous by Bret Hart, used by Owen Hart, Natalya, Sting, and The Rock, of all people, with a giant legs that no one can whatever. Sharpshooter number 2.
Favorite wrestler of all time for myself. So
Natalya?
That's close.
Yeah.
Number 2, actually. Uh-huh. But yeah, Bret Hart, fantastic. Again, one of his main moves. I mean, just like Ric Flair, you know, that was one of his big moves that won, again, a lot of championships, and you know, he was the best in his time. So
Yeah.
It's one of the. I think it's the first submission move I've ever seen. Either that or Rick Martel's Boston Crab, but this one was one that I could do as a kid, which I thought was cool. But I was never the huge on Hart, but I appreciated his abilities. And from when he was a member of the Hart Foundation with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, that was when I started watching wrestling and thought this guy was cool. I mean, and any guy who can pull off Pink and still be a badass, you have to give respect to him. I love that move.
Oh yeah, and what's great about Bret Hart doing it is it never looks the same when someone else does it.
Yeah.
Like he has that iconic, like it just looks perfect when Bret Hart has it locked in. Owen was very close as well, but anytime Bret, I mean, it just looked 10 times worse, you know, when he had it locked in.
And no matter who does it, you're like, oh, he's doing Bret Hart's sharpshooter.
Absolutely,
that's what I think when I see it.
So that just leaves our number one. This might cause a little controversy because, I mean, you've heard our moves we've just listed off, figure four, sharpshooter. But our consensus number one actually was the Lion Tamer from Chris Jericho. And we're not talking about the Walls of Jericho. We're talking about the Lion Tamer, the classic. I don't even know how to describe it.
The knee, a knee between the shoulder blades, or almost back of the head or the neck. WCW Lion Tamer, seen a little bit in WWE
sometimes, but it's usually transitioning into the Walls.
Yep.
It's this move, like most of them, as we talked about, this move hurts to be in, and I love it because of its effectiveness. Because you could put a bigger person in it, and they're going to have to tap.
Yeah.
There's no way. And I guess a lot of that can be said about a lot of the moves on our list. But to me, in overall effectiveness, how cool it looks, degree of difficulty being relatively easy to pull off, which is important for me, and just the person attached to it. That's why I'm giving it all-time number one.
Absolutely. You know, and they don't use it much anymore, and I read that it was actually because when he would lock it in, the guys couldn't do anything to reverse it. They couldn't crawl to the ropes. They couldn't.
Right.
They're basically done. So there was no drama. You know, when you're in the Walls, you can kind of crawl and commando style to the ropes, but this Lion Tamer was just so devastating. No one could do anything with it. So it was just too good. It was too good. That's why they can't use it.
Agreed. I thought, that move is by far one of my favorites. So
yeah. So that's our list. I want to also say, special shout outs to other holds that didn't quite make the list because I feel like we slighted a few. We had the Sleeper hold, the Anaconda Vice, the Mandible Claw, the Full Nelson, the Crossface Chicken Wing that were all very close, and you had a couple as well.
Mexican surfboard stretch.
Yep.
You rarely see people tap out to those moves because, your arms are occupied. It's hard to tap out. But to me, submission moves, they are submission moves.
Yeah. There are just so many good ones, too. This was a really difficult list to whittle down. So if yours didn't make the cut, well, you're just not as smart, I guess. So that's our top 10, and that's our show for this week. Andy, promote yourself on Twitter.
you can follow me on Twitter at MaxZilla51. Talk a lot about wrestling. However, that's not the only thing I talk about. So you get some good stuff. And
how do you spell Maxzilla?
Maxzilla, MaxZilla 51. So,
all right, give Andy a follow on Twitter. You can get at Jimmy Bellamy, at 97Bush, at Immortals PCast. Follow us on YouTube. I put up some exclusive footage that only 30 people have watched so far. So
I was one of them.
Yeah, I got live footage from the Izod Center. When Ziggler cashed in. It's great footage. I also have after the show when Cena talked to the crowd. And within a couple days, I'm going to be uploading a full-length movie, fully edited, music, everything, cuts. It's good. It's really good. I'm pretty proud of it. So be sure to watch for that on our YouTube channel. That's Podcast of the Immortals, I believe, is
it is.
Our YouTube channel.
Yeah, it is. And if you search that, you'll find it. And I recommend watching that Ziggler cash-in because Matt has a steady camera hand, especially for being in a raucous crowd.
And a womanly voice.
Very, very cool.
Effeminate cheers. Check us out on Facebook and whatever else. Podbean. You guys know it all. Thanks.
Bye.